So nice that everybody came. I guess it's unclear now who leads the call. Yeah, we can start with updates. I'm about to switch the deployment. I didn't do it yet, I know, but I usually like to give more time than it needs. Is there a heavy blocker from anyone? Maybe testing or so? Because we said or we tried to look at different things and it works really well. All right, so I'm gonna and yeah, that's also my update. So we were checking that it works and trying different things, server maintenance and so on. Maybe Matteo, you want to get more into like the detailed update, what went down like this last week, what you added or fixed?
Yeah, essentially, Mitch, Lauren, Forrest, actually, within just testing the app, and by last week there were many issues that I think were solved in the case. The only ones that are missing right now are the segment integrations that I mentioned.
Matteo, your audio is really bad. Can you
Again,
try fixing
let
it?
me try. It's better. No? What about now? No.
Good.
Yeah, good, better. No, I was mentioning that since last week, according to the testing, I fixed many issues that were very important, and now they are solved. Only thing that is missing is the segment integration for the mail subscription and contact form that shouldn't be blocked by now, but will be solved really quick. All the other issues that are right now occurring are the same, are also happening in the current version. So I don't believe that they are a blocker because it's actually the same. So James is going to help me get that working. If he's getting too late to do it, I'll try to check it out myself. And the other part is, well, we did a poll since Monday trying to see the opinion of everyone to see if we move out or not. And the only person that said that we should wait and get more testing was Amin, but he's not here to say so. So if everyone in the call is believes that it's fine to do it, so I believe that we can do it right now. Uh, I'll try to get the segment iteration this week for the main subscription and contact form and the current bug that is happening right now, which is for some old projects, like the Giveth one, for example, there is a segment user issue when someone tries to make a donation, uh, segment fails there and doesn't let the donation to be saved, even though it passed on a telescan. So that's very important. Looking at newer projects or the ones that are alive since release, they are working properly. I made a test on mainnet for a couple of them, and they are fine. So that's why I didn't worry much about that bug. So yeah, I think that we can take the time of this hour to talk about the sprint planning maybe and make more use of Monique that I know he's here to offer his skills on that. So let me know. I don't know if anyone else has any updates. Kai, what do you believe?
Your audio was unfortunately pretty shitty still. Just a short recap of what he said. It's so he's also in favor of going forward. He was describing testing and that like the two things that we detailed on the channel that are the contact form and the newsletter thing are not working yet, but there are a simple segment integration, but it would help to move to live for that as well, to get the hooks to really land there, because it's set up that way. And yeah, he hopes Monique can help us with our sprint planning. There is also the roadmap call, which is unfortunately later, like in the week. So would be nice to have that soon. One question I have is, there are 2 outstanding PRs by Merlin. If you could review them, Matteo, so we can get them merged. The one is a test, and the other one is, let me see. Add project categories to it's a little one. So we can do a funny thing, which is like, look at the new board, it's so empty. There are 2 new bugs. I mean, they're not new bugs, they're in the old one as well, but I made them here to prepare. So because we're moving to the Giveth next repo, right?
Wow.
Well,
in the whole week I was another board.
that's okay, because that holds all the issues that are with the current version. Like, you were looking at this here. Oh, see what happens, like no updates in 28 days. You know, we're looking at this here, the monster, and we can move stuff from one to the other. So we should be able to move this to, I mean, I saw it once. Damn it. Now I can't find it anymore.
I think it's when you open the actual issue, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not pipelines. It's I don't know. Maybe it's actually in GitHub, not ZenHub.
It is the same. Like ZenHub is just a view on GitHub, basically.
Because I've definitely seen it too. But
you're right. I am in the ZenHub view.
So
transfer issue here.
You're at the Giveth 2 or Giveth Next right now?
This what we were looking at was Giveth 2, and now you see I moved that issue to Next because it was the contributor guidelines. We need them here as well. So it loses a bit. You see, like this had like high priority and like this pin to top and set as high priority. So that's one thing we can do, is look through these issues here and see what they, I mean, we don't have to do it on the call, but this is something we need to do and see if they still hold valid for the next version. And we should be very selective given the amount of like really huge issues, like really many issues here. And we won't lose them anyway because they stay here, but we can kind of cherry pick our way and get a really good thing going with a new board. Did somebody else join? No. Anybody else want to say something or give an update?
We can go through, ZenHub application and add many repositories there. It's another thing that we can do. Just a suggestion.
Yeah. Can you listen better now? Okay.
Yes. Sounds good.
I was going to mention before doing that, Kai, you asked me about a couple of PRs. Can you show me?
There are two. Yeah, there are two by Merlin. Oh, sorry, and the other one.
Because last time I checked, there were work in progress. So
okay. Oh, you're right. You're right. Sorry, you're right. He had more, and you closed those. This is great.
Yeah, the ones closed are merged already.
All right.
I think it's a great idea to pick some issues, cherry pick some issues, and just like you said, kind of be really thoughtful about which of the issues that we already made do we still want to prioritize. But I also know I joined this call, and I'm glad we're doing this call earlier so that I can attend going forward. But there's the elephant in the room of like the whole roadmap discussion, vision discussion, and the frustration that was voiced on the last call. And I did get the chance to watch the last call, so I heard it, and now I feel much more up to speed with what the frustrations were. So I think if there's time at the end, maybe we can just chat through. I want to make sure, basically, I think my main goal today is to make sure that since we have already agreed to go do now these roadmap vision workshops, just making sure that what comes out of those workshops is what everybody is requesting from this group. Make sure that we're doing the right stuff with these workshops. And I think out of it will come goals, a vision, and a roadmap, at least for the next features, next milestone that we want to get to on the product side. But also, if there's anything else that we want to get out of it, I think some of the issues were not just that, but also there were some issues around like maybe miscommunication or lack of communication between some of the different groups. So I also love the idea to have kind of a broader shared roadmap. But also there was frustration around, like, I think a big part of it was the backend developer role and how that wasn't necessarily clearly communicated. That seemed like a big source of frustration watching the call. Also, desire to do more Solidity code and not really having that opportunity seemed like a big part of the frustration. So there were other things that I think weren't necessarily related just to the roadmap vision that I think we should also talk about and get on the same page with. Now that I'm glad that those concerns were voiced, because I have no doubt they're valid, and now that they're voiced, we can work together to get aligned and move forward together, row in the same direction. But before we derail the conversation, maybe we can cherry pick some issues. I just wanted to mention that, and hopefully we can set aside some time at the end after we make sure that we achieve the goals for this meeting and have some issues prioritized.
Thank you very much, Willie. It should be said that James was voicing most of these concerns since he's not here. So maybe Matteo shares some. Maybe you even, I hope you know what we're talking about if you watched the last meeting, or I don't know, we talked a little bit about it, I guess. But yeah, let's try to find some space in the end. So awesome. Looking at our current sprint, so this is how we usually did it. So these are right. So these were done, and they should be closed already. And
sorry,
these,
can I ask a question right now?
Oh, please do.
Do you, close after the release or before the release? What is done that in this column means?
Yeah, this is one of the parts where we were not really structured as we should be.
That's okay.
Because like we have these, right? Like also the flow works in a way that we have the new issues, right? Like now they're hidden, of course, because I only show the sprint that we're in, or actually that's a bit of a problem that a new sprint started today. So you see that like they have, so we should have done this yesterday, or we should set the sprint date to start on Thursday, not Wednesday. You know, because it's always carrying over this last one if it's not closed in that time. So what we do is the backlog is where we pick the issues from.
Done. Sorry, Kai. The done is tested on stage before going to, for example, next, or kind of what's the difference between done and closed? Wow.
So that might be one of the issues. We don't really do it in a way with the Scrum Master, but we always said, hey, move along your issues, please. And yeah, it doesn't always work, because then you lose the structure of the, like you can see here, the sprints, like things are here for a long time. This has been closed for, or should have been closed for a very long time. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
To close it now, I would need to check again, but and this is something that should happen.
Yeah. Usually the flow was everything that is in the
here.
Sorry, are you listening to me? Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. No, our current flow is that whatever is currently on the staging column is ready for testing. And actually, the testers are the one who moves it to done and ready to deploy. When everything is there, I suppose that we're ready to send for mainnet or main production environment. But I believe that if it's there, it should be actually closed. So I don't know if we should contemplate the making it the same, like whatever is done is actually closed to make the board cleaner. I'm not sure if you believe that a good idea.
It seems like with the current flow, one of the challenges might be that we can only deploy once everything in the staging column is tested and done. Right? We're in this situation where even once something's so tested and done, if there's one issue that creates a blocker, we can't deploy. Would it be possible if the flow is that basically like we're testing before things are necessarily merged to master, for instance, in an environment like the staging environment? Maybe I know we can do that with we get ephemeral environments basically with that we used to with Gatsby, where for each PR we'd have like a unique environment. But basically thinking that maybe they don't get merged until they're tested and verified to work, and then we merge these things, and then at that point we can deploy whenever. We can deploy the done column whenever, as long as it's all been tested, and then and we're not blocked by things that are in staging that have issues been tested yet.
Currently, we have that with Vercel. Every PR is also doing the deployment of that version of that current version of the application. So we could use that. We just have to indicate the testers or everyone to point to that route that is given within the pull request. So we can do that also. So I don't know. Well, what's your opinion, Kai?
It's almost like
yeah, I agree.
We could have while it's in code review, then while the PR is open, it should get code reviewed and approved by a developer, but then also maybe approved by a tester, just right there in GitHub once they've tested it, and then it can be merged and moved. Then it can be merged and moved to done by whoever merges it. I don't know if we want to have the testers actually clicking the merge button, but I'm open to that.
The thing I really took away from what Monique said is that we should have like this release point in time, and somebody should be like, okay, the sprint ends tomorrow. Everything is tested. I'm gonna merge this now and move those to close them actually.
Yeah.
Sorry, but the business versions or business release is kind of different things than the versions and the release that you have. You might have some, hot fixes, and you should have to release this as soon as possible. So we can wait until the last of the sprint to get tested. But another option that we have is to make a column about code reviewing, and all of the PRs should go there before staging. I mean, after development, before staging, all the PRs go in a column named code review, and each developer test the another code and make all the releases. It can be the responsibility, for example, of the Kai, because I think he do operations in the team. And I have this problem in the trace team too, because we don't have a pure UAT environment. It uses kind of a staging, but it's not a UAT. UAT is as possible, as similar as possible to the live, even with the a live mainnet. The user have to test all of the behavior of the real world. But it could not be possible right now, and it's not an option to add a code review column. But in matter of the releasing, you can release whenever you want. But when a team, or for example a whole project, wants to announce formal release, we can name it about the version name and put that in the closed. So I think we can feel free about defining these items. Sorry.
I like that, Monique. Is there any reason that we don't have a code review column right now?
Well, that's code review. I think that is kind of like the on develop, but they're different things like where is it and what should be done. So where would you put it?
I would put it between on develop and staging, and I would make code review the user testing column actually, because we have this ability with First Sale to do user testing while the PR is open before it's merged to master.
Sorry, you would do what? Rename a column?
I would put code between on develop and staging, and then I would take the user testing and I would put user testing on code review.
Sorry, I think we can do it later because we have to hear more from Matthew, because he's just one developer right now, and I'm here to hear and listen from Matthew. The code review means after one another check all the releases or all the changes that the other developer make. But I think it's not necessary right now. Just my suggestion.
Well, let's talk through it. And we don't have to make these changes, but I want to propose it because right now we heard that Merlin's got 2 PRs in code review, right? And we're missing that column. So like adding the code review column, it will give us visibility there. But I'm also arguing and proposing that we do user testing at that stage, because once you merge something into master, then we get into this situation where, first of all, if there are issues there that we find it, because we're not testing once it's merged, it's harder to fix those issues, and because it's already been merged into master, and then we get blocked on releasing, right? If we do the user testing while it's in code review, and we only merge code that's been, first of all, we're always testing against master plus this one PR, basically. So if everything works there, we're clear to merge that one PR to master. And then at any point, we're clear to deploy master. So if we have a hotfix that comes through, we can test it against a version of staging that only has tested code. Then we can, as soon as that is verified to work, we're clear to deploy. And then, yeah, I think otherwise, if we're like pushing stuff into staging and just merging it before we're testing it, and then we have user testing, then we're in the situation where everything has to be tested and working together, and that's really hard to do, especially in an async environment when we're merging stuff without thoroughly testing it. So I think this would solve it, and it would also just give us visibility, and then it's a nice flow where, at any point while it's in code review, testers can come look at that column. It'll say user testing. They can test each of those PRs independently, approve it, then we're clear to merge it. And I just think it'd be a lot cleaner. But just want to propose it, and I'm certainly open to other ideas. And I don't want to push it if that's not if that doesn't sound like a good flow to the dev team.
Yeah, thank you.
Merlin in particular has the tendency to make every feature a pull request, and he can get like 5 pull requests that will be merged eventually with every feature that is supposed to be in the staging branch. So maybe that's a good idea, and we could even split the testing of each feature, so you can get like instant review on that one for the PR, and not in every issue that is related to that. So the PR, the pull request would organize or get all the issues, and the tester would know what they are testing inside that same context, for example.
Exactly.
Okay, so I think that's a good practice, and I don't see any problem for doing that. I have a question. I think that it's possible, but I haven't done it yet, so I can say that we can do it. The PR, I believe, makes like some sort of commit, so you can actually put in the column of code review the pull request as an issue, no?
Sorry, go ahead.
No.
They are issues, or are they treated as issues? Yeah, so you can move them around to SendHub board as well.
So I would propose that in the code review there are only supposed to be pull request issues. So the testers go to that column and click the Vercel route that was deployed with all of that. And
Sorry,
yeah,
all the issues can be related to just one PR. It's end-to-one, kind of model. But if you move that PR to staging, all of the issues, move to staging after that. So if the responsible of the code reviewing in the team, usually the any developer or operation manager, find out that it's okay, the tester after that user testing it. So he or she can easily hide the PR from the filters from above and just test the issues, not the PRs. But because the issues might have or must have test scenarios on it. If we define it as a user story, it should have success criteria, and it's very clear for the testers or the users to get familiar to it. Sorry for my English.
No, man, thank you. It's interesting, different to hear different. I'm a bit confused on what is the best way to do it. But yeah, I appreciate that you tell us what the standard is, and we tell you how we cook.
There is no standard, man.
Yeah, definitely different ways to do
Yeah,
that.
just
We make them as we
ask
go.
and other developers what's the best method serves them, and we are here that help Matthew and all the team members, the coders, to do their job. I think I want much more feedbacks from Matthew right now. Is it okay? You're the only developer here.
no, I think that's it. I'm okay with that. Really. The feedback is that it's fine. I was the only part that I was actually worried a couple of weeks ago was the column of staging, that sometimes it would get like really confusing for testing, because sometimes I was done with something, but it wasn't yet already on staging. So I wanted to make like sure that I'm not working right now, but it's done, but it's not in staging, so it's a previous stage that was not considered. But that would add like an extra complexity to the Zen Hub. So I would say like I'm not sure how we can do that. Like another good practice is that whatever is in progress should be only one issue. Make many issues in progress would make it a little bit problematic. So let's say I'm working in one thing at a time, not many at a time. So when I'm done with something, I want to say it's done, but it's not yet in staging. Should we consider that case?
Well, yes, you're absolutely right that that should all be visible, right? So the point of these boards is so that you can see where issues are piling up and if they're blocked, so that you can swarm on blocking them. So I think those issues should be on the board, and I guess they would, if they're not in staging yet, they would just be on the column, either on develop or code review, and then we should see those stacking up. And I think there's a feature to be able to mark an issue as blocked too. But yeah, the idea is that it should be on the board, and we should have visibility so that when we have these meetings, we can say, okay, there's a lot of issues piling up. Mateo's juggling 3 things. We need to help him unblock this so we can move these issues all the way across.
So let's say I am working on that issue that is in there, the number 678. And let's say I was done with that one. I move it to undevelop because it's not already for code review, and I'm working on something else. I would be stacking everything that is done but not ready for testing in the undeveloped column, and whatever I'm working on, I'll just keep it in the in progress column, right?
Yes, that sounds right. What's the difference between in progress and on develop?
Yeah, that's my main question.
Okay. Yeah, I just noticed that. I was imagining that on develop was in progress, and I see that there's now 2 columns.
So we can change the name.
For me, I'm not sure if we are not confusing each other and like or ourselves too much with like having all these different environments, because we do get the really nice pull request previews. I think the real reason why we have developed was that for some time we had a problem with those previews. That I'm
because
damn it,
Netlify.
no, it was it because of Netlify? I think it was because of Taurus and something that they had needed the whitelisted domain and it didn't work, and so we said, we can test it if we don't have a. So develop was basically the environment to quickly merge to, so you can see if it works. But the users should not test there. The users should test, not the users. The testers should test on staging, and develop is kind of like the middle thing here. So on develop means that it is there, and in progress means it's in my local, or I'm still, I'm writing the code and it's living on my local upmost. As soon as it moves from my local to develop with a PR, the first PR, and that's the thing, like sometimes I feel stuff wants to move to staging and like does not need a middle thing in develop, because what I would do is make a PR, check out the preview anyway, don't even, and so develop becomes this unnecessary step maybe. So we should evaluate if we still need that environment. And in the new or in the next version, it's not set up anyway. We basically have a mainnet Ethereum staging environment and a Robson staging environment. You're muted, Nick.
Shall I share my screen? I want to show you something.
Sure. Go ahead.
Just to show the trace board right now. As you see, there we don't have develop. We just the UAT test is done on develop, and that's why I think now I don't have any UAT test environment actually. But right after the in progress, we have this column, and even the developers have PRs related with this, for example, issue, and they move it to code review. The code review to UAT is just done by Amin. Amin and review all of the things that the developers did, and moving a UAT test to done is just only my responsibility. I make it remain there or get it back to in progress if I have some issues. It's not the best way, but I just want to show you how's going on here. But if you want to be if you want to do it very classical, I've been in a project that they have 3 or 5 environments before going live. One develop, one SIT, one UAT, SIT system integration test. For example, as an example of the Taurus that you said, some testers are dedicated to Taurus. Some testers are just dedicated to develop, just doing the unit testing and auto testing and kind of things like that. And after SIT is the UAT. The UAT should do a performance test and the functional test. But it's too much for us. I think we can just just put just one code review and right after the in progress. Just my opinion, my point of view.
I agree. I think if we're still having issues with Taurus in the new Vercel ephemeral environments, that might be one argument to keep the developed environment around, where we just understand that, hey, if everything else works regression-wise, then we can probably merge it into staging and test there. It's a little risky, but I'm okay with that because of the size that we're at right now. I think it's, I don't want to go overkill and have a dozen environments just yet. Maybe hopefully one day we get there. We have dedicated testing teams. That's a great thing to work towards. But I agree. I think for now, in progress to code review, you do testing there. Once it's tested, merge to staging, and then staging should always be.
I also feel that a big takeaway I get from this is that you
Okay, we're
said
getting lots of
basically.
wind feedback from your mic.
That's me.
But that's you.
Basic. Oh shit! Sorry, that worked too. Like I'm getting a warning here on my computer. Sorry, guys. So, but you basically said that you have like two people, you and Amin, for different stages to push them along. So, and that is what we said earlier, that it would be good to have, at those points, like merge from staging at least, like depends on the environment, from develop to staging, from staging to live, but at least to fit it in our sprints, it would be like we have 2-week sprints and 10 days of code, like 1 day of testing, 2 days to like see if there is something we need to fix, and on the last day it should get merged to the to live if it works.
It's not going to live that column. If I approve, it's just going to develop.
Yeah, you're right. There is no column for it's live. There's one for done, ready to deploy, and
yeah,
these issues should be closed after merging and checking that they are live on master and working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we decide that, okay, this month, according to our business responsibility, not technical responsibility, we have to deliver another version. So it's not related to the board. So we decided to put these PRs to live. And, we don't have any column for it. Just we put it in the done, and we try to do that another.
One thing I want to say here is that we have not replicated this yet, and this is still the old board we're looking at, and everything will happen from now on in the new board, so we have the chance to like do that again. What I will do is like go in there and like make those lanes. I will just not use the onDevelop. Instead, we will use the code review, and that should be done in a PR environment that you get with the PR. And staging can be there, and maybe done should be, merged to master. Oh, hey, James.
Hey, hello. How's it going? Sorry.
You made it. It's great.
Yes.
That you came.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about like how our flow works.
Oh, yeah?
We had a conversation with Mo and Nick here, and basically said we need to nail down, what you did, Okan, but have a specific time in the sprint for merging to master. And
yes.
We get a new pipeline code review that should be done in the PR environment, just giving you a little recap. And the develop environment will likely go for now, because we have those PR environments and staging and main with the next one.
All right, exciting. I like it.
Cool. We still have 15 minutes for something else, because we need to construct the board anew. We'll have to revisit this anyway, but I'll take what I heard here and try to shape the next board. And I already imported the labels, and what we said is like cherry pick issues also to carry over to the new repository, to the new board. But I think we should do this asynchronously.
Cool. That's great. Yeah, sorry I couldn't join for the meeting. I'm like totally overloaded right now. Matteo said that like maybe for the last 15 minutes of the meeting or some time will be spent on just talking about feelings. So I joined because I want to listen, because I think I've expressed mine enough, basically. But yeah, anyway, I just want to, take a seat, hang in the background a little. So yeah, that's it.
Perfect timing, and
Sweet.
Here you go.
Well, I'm happy to get to start the discussion, but I hope you'll chime in, James, because I did watch the call from last week, and I heard a lot of the frustration, and I want to make sure that we air it all out, and that we basically come up with a plan to address it. And address the frustration. So I'll say what I heard, the frustrations I heard, and then we can see if there's any others frustrations that I missed, and then let's just go through and talk through each. So the clear big one was the lack of like roadmap and vision and goals. So I think that one's been heard, and the plan there is to basically do a series of workshops and where everyone is invited, and throughout these workshops we will get aligned on the vision, we'll set goals, and then we'll create a roadmap, get aligned on a roadmap to achieve those goals. So that's happening, and again, I want, and I think a lot of us want that to be a group communal thing. So it's not just one individual deciding the roadmap. Anyone is welcome to come make a proposal, but it's going to be a community aligning on it, and it won't just be up to any individual. And if anybody on the call has an idea for what that vision or what that roadmap should look like, they're very much encouraged to come participate in those calls. Does that address will that address the frustrations around roadmap and vision and goals, or is there anything else that we want to discuss there?
It sounds good, I would say. Yeah, that sounds great. I mean, like, just from my side, on reflection, I realized like a lot of the frustration I feel like was very personal to me, and I might have dragged it into the team also. And so like that's kind of why I don't want to feed that anymore necessarily. But the other part of it was around like overall strategy, etc. And I think like what the actions you're taking right now would definitely be a big step in the direction of improving that. So that sounds good to me, I would say.
From what I heard from Monique and some others, I think a lot of the disconnect was that there was like a Give planning call, like for the Give sprint, and there was the dev call, which was a separate thing. But really, we're finding out that they're fairly related to each other, and maybe having those things separate wasn't the best idea.
Yeah, so how have you been deciding what to work on? I've been pretty disconnected from the Giveth.io stuff. I've been laser focused on Give token, and part of my perspective, I wasn't aware that there was a lot of uncertainty around what to build. I honestly thought the Giveth.io team was buzzing along happily, and I also kind of was under the impression that the next milestone that we were all collectively aiming for was this Give token launch, and we had and those two worlds were very separate. Yeah, I am curious how it sounds like we were doing separate Give sprint planning meetings where the devs weren't on the call. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely very much a disconnect between the Give token and the Giveth donation application. And I think in terms of like advice process, like as I understand it, like it's important to get like feedback of anyone who's involved or like a stakeholder in any of these processes, I guess. And I think like generally speaking, like Marco put it best, like in his frustrations, I think, like in how we can improve upon this. Like I think the biggest problem really was that there was a lack of structure around like what was to be delivered by when. And I feel that like on the Giveth step, we went through a phase of working like super hard as possible, like 7 days a week to try and get this ready as soon as possible. And in the end, like the project planning wasn't there to ensure that all the dependencies were in place in order to launch. And then there was this kind of void of like, okay, well now we should work on identity, or now we should work on, it's just this like continual like feeling of like Sisyphus, you know, like pushing the rock up the mountain for it to roll down again. It's like kind of like, where are we going with this? Like, when do we celebrate? You know what I mean? It's kind of like getting it live. Yes, we did that. And what comes next? There's kind of like a void. And I think it's difficult for me to draw a boundary between my own personal frustrations and the frustrations of the team, because I don't want to talk for other people. But like, I personally felt like I would like to be involved in the planning of the Give token and the launch. I made it clear to Griff, and I don't know if I said it last time, like I feel that like if we had been approaching it in terms of like one single team or something like this, I feel like a high degree of confidence that we would have it both token and staking, etc. We could have had that done 2 months ago, basically. And like, for me personally, like that was very frustrating in that I felt like unable to take an action on this and actually make something happen. And it was very demotivating for me. And I know I don't like, I struggle to differentiate my feelings from, I don't want to talk to the team or whatever, but I know that other people were also disappointed about this. Anyway, I don't know, like, yeah, I don't know, like, I feel like, I have difficulty talking about it because I don't want to turn the attention on me too much in my experience, and it's hard for me to differentiate that. You know what I mean? Like what motivates, like maybe not everybody is super interested in taking part in the token conversations. You know what I mean? It could just be me. I don't know. Like, but yeah. So I don't know. I'll leave it there, I guess.
Thank you for being transparently sharing all this. I think, I mean, absolutely, all of these frustrations are completely valid, and if you know, if you're having them and we don't address them now, then they're going to continue, I think. So it's good that I appreciate you bringing it up, and I think we should address it. And I totally hear you. I think I would, if I were in your shoes, I would probably be frustrated too. I do want to provide a little bit of the perspective, the other side of it, because hopefully that will help. I think, you know, it's not excuses, but I hope it'll help give some context that will ease the frustrations a bit. So, I mean, I think we were all focused on getting the MVP out, and you and Matteo, we all remember we're like you're busting your ass to get that done and hit the deadline, and we got an awesome MVP launched, and we hit that goal, and there was some champagne pop for sure. But when you rush to get an MVP out, you end up cutting corners, and there was core functionality that was still missing, right? So we had bugs to squash, and we were getting feedback from actual projects and stuff on, you know, we want rich text formatting and stuff like that, and that's great feedback. And then we got a bunch of projects, and we're like, okay, we need sorting and stuff, you know, and those are, you know, you could make arguments for those being MVP core features and stuff, and we were hearing and seeing that we needed these things. So I think we did the right thing by, you know, we could have stopped there and planned long ahead and stuff, but we weren't ready to just dive into new features yet. We still had some polished work to do, and I'm glad we were doing that. And I know on the Give token side, there was also a lot of urgency there. We wanted to launch a token as quickly and do it well. And we had those planning meetings. They were open to everybody to get involved, and they were recorded. We probably could have done a better job of really getting everybody who wanted to be involved, but it's not like we purposefully excluded anybody by any means, that's for sure. But I will say that I think there was some perception that the Giveth.io team, if we wanted, and part of making this token launch successful is having a really good DApp, right? And having it bug-free and making it look great. And the Giveth.io team should stay focused on that right now, because at the beginning of the token stuff, we still had a lot of things to plan out that weren't dev-related before we could dive into writing code. I know there was also a desire to not have, in terms of writing the Solidity, not only do we want to have an experienced Solidity developer who had already done these types of contracts working on it, but also we were able to leverage the work that DappNode was doing, which is amazing. Like the ability to just take all this work that DappNode was already doing and be able to make a few small changes and have it work for us. It was a really awesome opportunity, especially for a project like us that has limited resources. And I don't know if it could have been done sooner if we had done it ourselves, and because it's still not done on the DappNode side, and they've been focused on it with experienced Solidity developers. And if we had been working on it internally, then we wouldn't have been working on the other great things in this Next.js migration that we've done. That puts us in a really great position. So I do hear the frustrations, but I wanted to provide a little bit of that context. I think it's important. But going forward, let's try and make it better. Let's try and make it even more clear collaboration and communication between the Giveth.io and the Give token team. As far as the project verification goes too, that was another feature that I also consider pretty core. And Marco himself brought that up, you know, back when we were still in the MVP stage, and almost made an argument for that being an MVP blocker. And we implemented the profile, but we have not solved the original issue he brought up about project verification, because still any project can create a profile and say they're anybody, basically. And we have not solved that yet. That's a pretty crucial feature if we want to ever achieve any vision. And it's also really crucial for the Give Back program. And if we want context about the Give Back program, there's a lot of great spec docs and stuff that explain it, explain why we're doing it, explain the goals of doing it, and the success metrics. And maybe we should have done a better process around actually getting that prioritized and aligned on. But it hasn't been like done in secret. There's been a decent amount of communication on Give Backs, and there's been, I would say, ample opportunity for anyone to object to this program if they thought it wasn't the right next feature for us to build.
All fair points. I mean, for sure. And like, I'm totally open to a lot of my complaining just being my ego. Like I'm very much open to that. Like, I mean, for me, I don't know. Like I've led teams, led companies, led lots of stuff, and I'm used to like if there's a problem, being able to solve it. And if there's a problem that I see or a way that things are being done that I don't like, and I can't act on it, then it's over time that grinds me down, right? And like, yeah, I totally accept that. Like, you know, I don't want to just blame other people. Like, I feel like this is me personally. Like, I'm demotivated at some points, and I try to express what that is. And I don't know if I did a good job at separating my own feelings and the feelings of the team. But I think to some extent, like, my role was to lead the team somehow. And like, as a result, like, I wasn't really able to effectively be a leader. And at some point I became demotivated and felt that I had to leave somehow, right? And like, I feel also that like the role of leading the team was very confusing for me, because it was kind of alluded to that I would be product owner of the Giveth app, but at the same time, I did not have control about the requirements that were being put in and put not. And like, honestly, for me, it felt like it was being dictated without advice process. And that's something I went through with Griff, and it's not something that like I'm accusing anyone of. It's just a feeling that I had. And ultimately, I believe that it's my feeling that decisions were made without like advice process being done. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying it's a bad idea to let the guy who deployed the Gurley network write the smart contracts. You know what I mean? Like, Afri's amazing, right? But no one asked about that, right? So that's just an example, right? And like, I don't know. I'm not perfect. I have feelings. I admit that. And like, yeah, I mean, I love Giveth. I want the best for it, right? At the end of the day. So yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to you and to everybody for my behavior and what I've said, etc. Like, a lot of it is my own personal feelings. And for me personally, it's difficult for me to continue in this role that I had, like, in this position right now, because the reality is that like I've made a lot of sacrifices. Like, even though Griff has supported me, like, in the team financially to do this, etc., and I'm very grateful for that. Like, I have sacrificed a lot of opportunities, and I think that kind of led to a growing sense of frustration and just like, yeah, I mean, a mixing of like my personal issues with the issues of the arrangements of the team. And so yeah, look, I'm not just like, I don't want to just shoot bullets out at everybody and blame everyone else, you know. Point at myself also, right? Like, I mean, it is what it is, you know what I mean? And like, I think we all have the best of intentions, and like, we all have the best, we try to like make the best decisions we can, like strategically and otherwise, and organizationally, in order to have the best successful outcome for everybody. And I don't doubt that, basically. But yeah, it just became what it became. Like, I'm very excited about Monique, like, putting some structure into the team with his experience and styles and all this kind of business. Like, I think it would be great, like, to figure out the best way for us to work going forward, essentially. Yeah, I'll stop talking. I think generally, just to be clear, like, generally speaking, like, I continue to take a step back. I don't want to disappear. I want to continue to support also, although my time is really quite short right now. But yeah.
No, thank you so much for the feedback, and you know, it's really hard to give critical feedback in our lovey-dovey community sometimes. So it's really important that we make space for it and hear it out and try to integrate it. You know, I feel like a lot of things we tried to do a divide and conquer thing, keep teams small and separated and like focused, but then that caused a lot of issues as well, right? Instead of like, oh, too many times in meetings, not enough like opportunities to really pass information, critical information around. It's all there, you know, it's great that it's there, but we're not putting it in front of you. We're not making an effort to get people together. Why weren't you talking to Edu and the people doing smart contracts, you know, for the Give token? Why is this all happening in the shadows over here and then this team over here? You know, we probably need to just, you know, start integrating the three teams a little bit better and make sure that we have better internal comms. I think that would have helped a lot. I don't know if it would have solved anything totally, but it definitely would have, if we made space for the internal comms, I think, or at least that's the biggest lesson I get out of this. But yeah, we are at the top of the hour. I don't know if anyone had any last comments.
I also wanted to thank you, James, for coming forward with this, and I love you, man. And I would say really make just like like tell us or keep us updated on your status, and it would be lovely to work together, like going forward. But if you need to take a step back, that's also understandable. So what I'm hearing is that we might need a difference in like how we manage stuff, especially on like like the day to day and the sprints and all that. It might have been a bit much. Putting it on your shoulders as well. Yeah. And so let's keep this discussion open, or at least Monique last time told me after the last meeting we had a little chat, and he said that in general he assesses for the trace team the time they have to give, and like their priorities, what they want to work on, what they would like to see. He assesses them beforehand for the next couple of weeks, and then the planning also takes that into account. So somebody will probably say, hey, it's whatever July, I will have a vacation planned. I won't be able to do that and that. So this is something we should also do going forward, like harvest the info from the dev team about their availability and commitment and what they want. But we can do that maybe at the roadmap. And I also don't want to go too long because we're already too long.
Yeah, totally. I mean, like project management is a full-time job, right? And like it's definitely something that really helps devs to fall into line. You know what I mean? And like I think it's great. I'm a dev myself in my role in Giveth also, right? Like it's kind of a little bit difficult to do both, but yeah, I think there's definitely going to be improvements going forward. So I'm excited about that.
Thank you, James. I didn't have the opportunity to get better and working with you, but I'm really looking forward to have your time a little bit discuss about the history and the issues that that we might have. But generally asking, do we have daily meetings that we can do this discussion after that, or no?
We had informal stand-ups for a while during the MVP times, like when we launched that, but nothing official or scheduled.
Can I ask, we have with you and Matthew and all of the others optional to start, and Marilyn maybe, you set a time, and I think we can discuss lots of these issues later.
Mm-hmm. So you would prefer like a series of one-on-ones?
No, just very short, small daily meetings, for example, like stand-up meetings.
We can also, in any case, continue this discussion, I think, in 24 hours when we have the roadmap call. We could go a little longer there. If somebody has to be somewhere now. God, the sun. Yeah. So we can take that meeting longer and go. People who have to go away sooner can go sooner.
We have a meme Olympics, you guys. With the
That's true.
Yeah, it's important. This is like an epically important meme party in which we are competing to create the best meme for what is like the Giveth mission. Like, what is the Giveth message? What are we all about? Come make memes in the meme party channel.
What's the bounty? What's the gift you give me?
Praise! I don't know. We can celebrate you. I'll shower you with love.
Okay.
In the meme party channel in Discord. Mateo made a playlist.
Okay.
You don't want to miss it.
I will get back to you, Kai and Matthew. I think we can have these discussions later.
Thank you, everyone.
See you guys. See you at the meme party.
Bye-bye.